My name's Guy Kestivan. I've been a professional bike and kit tester since Stif Cycles were a tiny shop in Leeds in the UK. And now this is my long-awaited, long-overdue, much-requested custom project build on their latest Stif Squatch V1.1 Ultra Radical Steel Rally Hardtail. So this doesn't go on for too long, I'm going to start with a talk through on the frame and the basic stats of the bike. Then I'll probably add the telescopic bits, so fork, seat post. Then we'll get onto the stop and go gear. Then we'll get the wheels on, and then we'll go for a ride. All right? So what is the Stif Squatch? Well, as it says on the seat tube here, it's designed in Yorkshire, made in Taiwan. It's a custom 4130 steel tube set, triple butted, some really nice gusseted welding on there. I mean, the welding's exceptional quality, I have to say. You've got an ovalized top tube. You've got this subtly curved down tube. You've got ISCG mounts here. You've got this nice little curved seat tube here. You can see there's actually an external butt on it there. So the top section is slimmer. Lower section fatter for stiffness. That's for your seat post fit. Apologies for some pinholes in the paint. Well, they're not pinholes, there where it's been hanging on the wall for too long and it's got clobbered by locks and other bikes over time. So yeah, it's not a paint fault. It's a me looking after it fault. You can see there really nice little details like butted top to that seat tube. That's pretty rare. And then you've got very, very subtle expansion on the ends of this super short head tube to take that zero stack headset in there. You've got ISCG mount on the bottom bracket. You've got their unique 12 bore, as they call it, named after the shotgun cartridges, chainstay arrangement there. I mean, to be fair, it's a version of what you used to see on the old On1 and Radley hardtails, and because Brant Richards, who designed those bikes, was also part of the design team on this bike, but it means they can keep chainstay length super short at 430mm, but still have room for a 29 by 2.6 inch tyre in there. Got these nice subtle little sort of 3D, well, I mean, it's basically a folded triangle gusset in there rather than a pipe. You've got another little one on the back of the seat tube here, and then you've got these super radical, super thin sort of leaf spring chainstays. There you can really see it well in profile there, I hope. But yeah, that's where the real spring and drive of this hardtail comes from. And then on the end here, you've got UDH dropouts. So, and Stif have actually gone to the trouble of making custom UDH dropouts for this bike on both sides, and then really nice, neat 160mm post mount brake mount there. So yeah, I mean, they've not gone off the peg with this at all. It's a fully custom tube set. It's not the lightest option around. It drops in just over 3 kilos for this size large, but it is a proper strong bike, and well, it's designed for going, I'll let the frame do the talking there if I want to keep my YouTube family friendly certification. But what else do you need to know? It comes in 3 colours. This rather gorgeous pink is fruit salad. And then you've got the similarly sweety flavoured blackjack, and then glacier mint as well. So you've got subtle, you've got stealth, and then you've got proper eye-popping pink and vibrant yellow. And I've got a frame kit that's going to really, really blow this out of the water, I reckon. It's all externally routed for simple servicing and easy building. And then just one set of bottle bosses on the down tube, because this is designed to be kind of a proper rad hardcore hardtail. It's not designed for double duty bike packing, which is very obvious when you start looking at the angles. So 64-degree head tube, 480mm reach on this large, 78-degree seat tube, which is radical enough before you take into account that actually they measure it, although it's got this slight kink just ahead of the BB here. They actually measure it with the seat post at its highest extension. So for most riders, it'll actually be steeper than 78 degrees. And having ridden the previous version, that gives it insanely kind of forward poised climbing traction on super steep climbs. It properly is a it's a winch up and then go wild on the way back down. Geometry setup. Already talked about the super short chainstays, 430mm there. And then, although you can't really appreciate it when it's in the frame, hovering above the ground, the bottom bracket has a BB drop of 80mm. So that is properly ground scraping and equates to a bottom bracket height of, they say 293mm. I mean, obviously that will vary depending on what tyres and what tyres you put in there. But suffice to say, it is proper low, and I'm going to be taking that into account with the build kit. So let's get started with that now, with the fork and the dropper post. So for the dropper, we're going with the new range from Pacific Northwest, PNW Components. Big fan of PNW, husband and wife startup over in the Pacific Northwest, as you might imagine. Started with dropper posts. It really is, it's kind of a big part of their business. They've diversified into a whole load of other stuff now, a lot of which I've reviewed. But they just kind of do things right, as far as I can see. You got your fully recyclable cardboard packaging, and this new post with cable kit and range lever comes in at 199 quid. You can buy them separate, 49 for the lever, 159.99 for the dropper post. But that makes it, as far as I can work out, the cheapest 200mm stroke dropper you can get. And obviously, the longer the stroke, the lower you can get for when you're swinging your pants on the single track. So let's get that into the bike. Let's get that greased up and fit that into the bike. And we can crack on with the rest of the build. You can see, got a nice little insert fit there. Slide the cable in. And then, because the cutting built end is at the far side, that means you don't have one of those really dodgy little bolted barrels hiding away inside your frame, because those are always the ones that slip and cause trouble, aren't they? So plenty of that Petey's grease. Don't be shy with your grease when you're installing this. I mean, this frame is fully corrosion proofed inside and out, but that slides in really nice. That's always a good sign of frame quality, is how well post slides into a frame. And that was lush. So plenty of seat post insertion in that frame, so you can run a really long dropper. Gosh, it's like a tongue twister this already. And now it's time to get forked. Now, to be honest, I was thinking of going a bit wild with the fork on this build. I tried to get a purple formula at the guys in Italy, but that has not been forthcoming yet. I was going to stick a Manitou in here because that's a really, really good fork. And I will be reviewing that shortly. I'll be doing a separate review on that because it's in the pace at the moment. And, I could have put something even crazy, something like a Wren in there. I looked at the new upside down fork from those guys. Or a Fox, but I haven't got the Fox with the latest damper. And also, I just don't think I'm going to do some fairly heinous things with the colorways on this anyway, but I don't think orange was going to fit into that anyway. So here we are with the latest Pike Ultimate, which like I said, I've not tried those latest Fox forks yet, but I genuinely think this is the ultimate 130mm travel fork at the moment. With the changes they've made with Charger 3.1, that's really improved the smoothness and consistency. Yeah, it's more consistent, the control you get from it. There's none of the spiking issues with the bushings on the previous fork that I talked about. This is now a really, really good sorted, super adjustable, super plush, but super control fork. So that's a lot of supers, even though it's not actually the... So that's a lot of supers going on. And then obviously Enduro Bearings have been my sponsor on the channel for a while now, and it's just great to be able to use their products because they are just such an awesome investment in kind of the long-term lifespan of your bike and just having a trouble-free life with it. So Enduro Bearings, max hit headset there. Because it's a max hit, it's got that maximum bearing size in there. You've got more bearings. There's no filler in terms of races or anything like that. Super strong bearings, ultra high quality as well, so they're going to withstand the impacts that you inevitably get on a hardtail because you're riding more over the front. And, you know, it's crucial that you do get a really good high quality headset in your builds if you don't want the bearings to kind of degrade over time. And then, you know, once they start getting stiff, once they start rattling, that soon transfers into the rest of the frame. It either turns the cups in the frame or it, you know, lets the cups move in the head tube, and pretty soon you'll have an overlised or even cracked head tube, and then your whole frame is written off. And no one's going to cover that on warranty, because that's on you. You should have put in a better headset and replaced it, or at least looked after it. So putting in a headset like this Enduro Bearings Max Hit with a lifetime warranty just makes a lot of sense in terms of investing in the long-term health of you and your vehicle. Look away now as I put on this horrible motley crew of headset spacers. I'm going to have to get down the shop and get them replaced straight away, because that's a right mess. That is there. As you can see, I'm putting in quite a large stack because it's only a short 110mm, 100mm head tube on this bike. So to get the nose up, particularly with that really steep seat tube on there, I'm going to go with a fair old stack to start with. We can always drop it down later, can't we? And then, spoiler alert, or what you might be seeing with component choices later, there is the latest trail stem from our friends over the hill at Hope. Slightly lighter, slightly more cutaway than the previous one, and in a 40mm length, which dials in with the 41mm offset on these forks, and should make the steering exactly as Jim and Sammy and all the other designers at Stif who worked on properly nailing the Geo on this bike. It should make it handle exactly as those guys want. And then we've just got to pop on the little neat Enduro head cap there. Boom, tidy. Right, so obviously should have done this before doing any of the building and risking damaging the paintwork. It would have been great if I'd done it before I did actually have it hanging up in the workshop and it got hit by some flying lock chains and other debris, and actually did pick up a couple of chips, which is a real shame. But let's get on the frame protection now, and we can thank the guys at Drivetrain for that. I remember my kids used to watch this. I think it was very it's off YouTube actually. I don't think there's a program associated with it. But this song, god damn, it was catchy. Pretty sure it's called Space Unicorn Flying Through the Stars. That was all about, oh god, it had something about marshmallow lasers. I'm pretty sure. I really need to find that as the soundtrack for the reel, don't I? Space Unicorn flying through the stars underneath the rainbows. You know what I should probably use? I should probably use the thing what you use to get the smooths. Gotta say, this glitter is lit, mate. If anybody's watching this going, did you not read the instructions? That's not how you do it. Then no, I didn't, and I'm sorry. But I have at least cleaned it, which is more than I normally do. So, and if you're wondering what this is, if you've not seen frame protection before, this is basically like a screen protector for your bike to stop it getting scratched and damaged by flying rocks, or if you've got personal piercings and tend to ride in a kilt, I guess. I don't know. Whatever harm your top tube and your other tubes might come to, this Drivetrain kit is designed to prevent it. And they do a whole range of different designs, but you know, obviously they know me. They know I'm challenged aesthetically. So thought it'd be a good idea to send me the unicorn. And I have to say, I think this absolutely slaps. Don't know about you. I'm loving a bit of unicorn on the Squatch. I mean, mythical beasts, right? Am I right? Or just, you know, I reckon that's going to absolutely fly with the rest of the kit I'm putting on here. Boom. It's got a nice bit of sparkle in it as well. Space Unicorn Squatch is go. And I have no idea why people say I can't be trusted with the nice things or to make my own aesthetic decisions. I mean, surely this is now truly a unique thing of beauty. I guess I'll find out in the comments. So hopefully this purple stem makes a bit more sense now you've seen that beautiful unicorn wrap I've put on there. Or you just think the entire thing's an absolute eyesore. But that's not going to put me off, is it? So, going in that stem, obviously we have a Hope bar, 800mm wide, 20mm rise, up sweep 5 degrees, back sweep 7 degrees. Handy that they put it on the back here. 35mm diameter, and so that should give plenty of control up front. And then, speaking of control, a brake I've been really keen to try ever since I told Hope. I'm going to be honest here, I told Hope they should do this as soon as they brought out the carbon lever for their cross-country brakes. I said, what you need to do is put this lightweight lever with the carbon blade and the less adjustment than your Tech 4 lever onto your E4 caliper. I said, that'll make a perfect down-country brake. So I've not tried these before, but at 230 grams an end with that powerful 4-pot caliper on there, I reckon these are going to be a right little trail anchor. So get those bolted on and crack on with the rest of the build. Okay, so brakes are on, stem is on. Obviously the position needs sorting out once the bike's on the ground, and they are all looking lush. Plus, I know they're not Petey's grips, they're race face grips. It's a race face Chester, but A, it's a really nice mushroom grip, and B, the gum wall just goes great with this new SDG Bel Air saddle. And I'm particularly delighted to say that 200mm stroke, the collar for the seat post is exactly the right height in terms of seat height when it's absolutely slammed, which always looks neat. Got a bit more cherries and lipstick, dog excitement down on the seat tube there. So what do we need to slide into here and bolt onto there to get this absolutely, I'm gonna say it, this is sick. I'm loving this build. It is coming together really, really nicely at this point. Like I say, it won't be for everyone, but let's see. Well, you might have already spotted the spoiler in terms of what's likely to sit on the back there, but let's crack on and get it installed. So, I could have mucked about, and I actually was thinking of putting Shimano Link Glide on here, just because obviously it's designed to be a robust hardcore trail hardtail, so I was like, oh, might be a good place to put Shimano Link Glide on it, but then it's like, Stif have gone to all the trouble of putting UDH hanger on it, then why would you not put a T-type rear mech on there? So, good, tough, new style. So the battery sits up there. GX is sitting on the back. Oh, and for those of you who noticed that up on the bar, we've got an axis shifter. That isn't me being deliberately awkward and just using the old paddle because I think it's any better than the new one. I mean, I do think it, you know, they have their pluses and minuses, both systems, but it's more to the point that that lever clamp there, it doesn't take a direct SRAM matchmaker mount. Hope do one for the Tech 4 lever, but not for this XCR lever. So I've had to go old school with a separate band on, which means the only separate band on mount I had was for the old Eagle controller, not the new pod controller. But I might update that at some point in the future. Be interested to see how I get on with going back to that shifter. You know, I never complained about it in the past, but it'll be interesting to see whether I do actually prefer that or I prefer the newer one. And then, as you can see, down at the BB, we've got another Enduro Bearings Max Hit system. So again, superb sealing, lifetime warranty, absolutely bomb-proof bearing setup. You can just feel the way the tolerances are so good as you slide in that in. Just feels absolutely awesome. And then some more purple anodized goodness, courtesy of Hope again. This is their alloy crank. I mean, they do a carbon crank now, but I think kind of asking for it. Putting a carbon crank on a bike with a BB this low. And also, I've gone for a 165mm crank length on this, just for maximum ground clearance with that 80mm BB drop. Sweet. I don't know, there's a load of pros and cons, and maybe going wireless kind of goes against the principle of having a steel hardcore hardtail in terms of simplicity, but just literally a hold and press on the rear mech, and then a hold and press on the shifter, and they're working. I mean, it wouldn't be so bad on this because it's externally routed, but still, that is just the ultimate and easy setup. Every time, that's a win. And now it's time for wheels. And I wanted something light, lifetime warranted, plenty tough, but with a really nice ride vibe to match the steel frame. So I have gone for Reserve 30 SL wheels, obviously with matching purple Hope rotors and T-type cassette. And then I've skinned them up with limited edition Soil Searcher Specialized Butcher T9 tyres. And not only are they rare because they're the soil searching brown wool ones, which, you know, to go with the saddle and to go with the grips, just line that T-type mech up there properly, but also they're rare because there aren't many really grippy trail tyres around these days that's still way under a kilo and reasonably survivable. So we'll see how they go on the back. Obviously it's a hard life living on the back of a hardtail, but we'll see how they get on the trail. Might have to replace them, might have to put a cush core in them. We shall see. Let's just get the brakes lined up, and then I'll get the front one in, and then pretty much ready to drop it out the stand. It's a, yeah, in case you're wondering, it's a Feedback Sports Pro HD stand from my sponsors, Feedback Sports Bait. Tighten those up. And while we're on the subject of Feedback Sports, this little tool here, one of my, I'm going to actually do a review on this because it's not perfect, but by God, I love it. Absolutely love using this. I mean, it's quite weighty. There's a bit of waggle in it, but such a nice tool to use. It just feels great in the hand, and we'll see, it can fully kind of make it into whatever tool you want just by pulling it apart. So, and it's a 5 Newton meter torque wrench built in as well, so ideal for a lot of adjustments on a bike. Right, so I'm just doing my chain setup as the last step on this bike, and I'm sure Al and everyone else at SRAM will want me to point out the chain length is very specific on T-Type, and in this case actually needs an adjustment of the setup key between A and B because it's a hardtail. So it's got a load of bikes on there already on the chart, but even if you don't know, even if your bike isn't on there, just put in your chainstay length, or it's a hardtail or not, and it will give you the correct number of links. Oh, and you need chainring size as well. It'll give you the correct number of links, and it'll give you the setup cog as well. Sorted. So there it is in all its glory, my custom build on the new Stif Squatch V 1.1. I reckon this pretty much qualifies as a love it or hate it kind of aesthetic, but I've got to say, I'm super pleased with it, and reaction on Instagram has been pretty positive, or that might have just been the Space Unicorn soundtrack I put on the reel. But anyway, love to hear what you think of the bike, how it looks, what you think I've done with the build in the comments, and obviously I am going to be riding this bike as soon as I can, and I'll come back to you with first impressions, and then I'll work through all the components I've used for this build and come back with a kind of overall build package. If you're coming up to Ardrock this weekend, then hopefully I'll be bringing the bike up there. So if you see me and the bike, stop me for a chat. Always great to chat to people in person. But otherwise, massive thanks to everyone who sent kit in for test. And that's gone onto this bike. Huge thanks, of course, to Stif MTB for supplying me with the frame and for being so patient with how long it's taken me to build up. But I'm really pleased with the result. Massive thanks to my other industry supporters. Those guys, some of them are on the back wall, others of them will be listed at the end. If you could think of those guys when you're shopping for your new kit, that'd be marvellous, because that way you're supporting them and they support me. If you really like what I'm doing in the channel, please consider supporting me on Patreon, and you'll get early, exclusive and behind the scenes edits as a thank you on there. And that'll only cost you the price of a cup of tea and a biscuit for me every month. So, you know, it's a great way for you to get behind the channel and really help GKTV grow long term. But otherwise, click for notifications, click for subscriptions, give this a thumbs up like on YouTube, and tell your mates that if they're into mountain biking, they like watching YouTube, there's an old bloke making childish bikes for the delight of the internet and then shouting about him while he rides them. But for now, I've been Guy Kestevan on Guy Case TV, properly indulging myself in a thoroughly infantile manner, building up my personal interpretation of this absolutely glorious Stif Squatch hardcore hardtail. Cannot wait to ride this one. Boo, 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 pew, 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 pew.